Joining me now, Arlene Dickinson, the CEO of Venture Communications. Arlene, as one of the fellow Dragons you worked alongside Kevin O'Leary, you've called him opportunistic and you said he would make a bad leader. Why are you so critical of Kevin O'Leary?
Well, I mean, I sat side by side with him for about 7 years and saw him day in, day out and how he dealt with people. And you know, I think he comes from a place of self-interest and a place of lack of empathy and compassion for entrepreneurs. And you know, small business is the backbone of our country. It's very important that if you're going to be a leader, that you exhibit qualities and characteristics that demonstrate that you are about people and not about yourself.
He says, and he's been on the show many times, he is in fact all about giving people opportunities. And he believes that this government is essentially handing over a generation with great debt, and he's the guy to fix the economy. What do you think?
Well, those are easy things to say, but I haven't heard him say how he's going to accomplish that. And Evan, at the end of the day, you know, his opportunity is only there if there's opportunity in it for him. So again, this is not the type of person that I think should lead our Conservative Party.
Okay, so talk about that, because you're talking about character here. You're not talking about policy yet. You're just saying he lacks the character to lead the party?
Well, he hasn't really come out with a platform yet, so I don't know all of the policy that he's going to talk about. I mean, he's talked about what's wrong. He hasn't talked about what he's going to do to actually fix it. So, but from a character perspective, isn't that incredibly important in our leader? Don't we have to worry about the character of the person that we put in charge of, whether it's a major party or whether it's the government? I mean, in general, as a prime minister, do we not have to think first about character?
Well, you know, temperament's a big deal. What kind of prime minister would he make? If he becomes the leader, what do you think would be his pluses? What would be his minuses?
Listen, I think having somebody with business experience in government is a good thing. I mean, the balanced budgets, the notion of how to control costs, the notion of how to build business is actually very relevant to government. But do I think that in this case he's going to be able to demonstrate the aptitude for making sure that the vulnerable are taken care of, making sure that we deal on a social level? I don't think so. So it has to be both. And so what would it be like under him? I think it would actually be very confused. I think it would be very driven by the wrong motives. I don't think it would actually drive the things that he says it's going to drive.
So do you think he's just in it for his ego?
I think Kevin is, as I said, he's an opportunist. So it's about power, it's about fame, and those things ultimately drive to increased wealth. So I think it is about, certainly about power and fame.
Well, you know, a fellow Dragon, Brett Wilson, a successful, also on that program, Dragon's Den, with you and Kevin O'Leary. He says you've got Kevin O'Leary wrong. He said he's done business with Kevin O'Leary. He likes Kevin O'Leary. He would endorse Kevin O'Leary. You're too hard on him. What do you think?
They're business partners. What's he going to say?
Well, you don't buy it. You think that's all spin.
I think that's all spin. I think that's certainly not what he would have said a few years ago prior to them being business partners. So I think that's, I mean, I'm not sure why Brett's weighing in, because, you know, to support him, I think as a business partner, I think of course he's going to say those things.
But why are you weighing in? I mean, people might ask, why? What is your motive for weighing in on this, Arlene Dickinson?
Yeah, it's fine that Brett weighs in on whether he thinks Kevin's good. I'm talking about whether Brett should be weighing in on the conversation that I'm trying to have. And I guess fair enough, Evan, that he can absolutely have an opinion on what we're saying here and what I'm saying. I'm weighing in because I care deeply about Canada. I care deeply about our country. And I want to make sure that we have leadership in place that's going to represent the values and the efforts that Canadians should care about. So Listen, I'm weighing in because I know the man, and I believe that this is an important voice to be heard. So,
what about you
right
running?
Or wrong, I have one.
Okay, yeah, there's fair enough. I think everyone should weigh in. He's weighed in, but now he's tossed his hat in the ring. He's put his money where his mouth is. What about you? Would you ever consider running?
No, as I said, I'm nonpartisan. Listen, I care deeply about great policy, whether it comes from the Liberals or whether it comes from the Conservatives. I'm a business person, I'm a Canadian. I want to make sure that good policy is in place so that business can be successful. These are the things that matter to me. I'm trying to give back to my country by supporting entrepreneurs.
Arlene, you've been approached to run, haven't you?
I have had interest expressed to me over the years.
By both Conservatives, Liberals, by who?
By all parties.
would you endorse anybody in the Conservative Party currently in that race?
I'm not, there are a couple candidates that I like quite a bit, Evan. There's nobody that I'm endorsing at this point, but I am watching a couple of the candidates closely. I think there are some great contenders.
All right, you got to give us a name. Come on, Arlene. You're criticizing Kevin. Who's on at least your favorite list? Who's on your short list?
I will give you a name, just not quite yet. I want to watch a little bit more and learn a little bit more about these candidates, but I think there are some good candidates in there, and I promise you I will.
Okay, Arlene, before I let you go, you talk a lot about temperament. Here we are on the Sunday after Donald Trump was inaugurated on Friday. Temperament has been a big issue with Donald Trump. Well, he won the election. Now he's the president of the United States. What do you make of his temperament?
Well, I think the marches today and the peaceful protests that are going on are indicative of how the American population is likely thinking about the choice they made. So his temperament is worrisome. His temperament is unpredictable. The things he says are divisive. And I think that we are in for some dangerous times as a result of that temperament. So again, you know, the relevancy here is that we've got to be careful about who we put in charge of our nations.
Oh, do you believe that Kevin O'Leary is a Donald Trump 2.0?
I think there are many characteristics that are very similar to Donald Trump, is how I would say that. I don't think he is as extreme, although he has said some preposterous and ridiculous things as it relates to political views and social stance, but I don't think he is as extreme as Donald Trump. But there's certainly similarities in the things that matter to them, which is really about power and money.
Last thing, Arlene Dickinson, you know the huge march, women marching not just in the U.S. but around the world about Donald Trump. That's been an issue that you've talked about a lot as a very successful female CEO. Is that an issue, and Donald Trump's views on women, has that had an impact on you?
For sure. I'm concerned as a female business person, as a female. I think that the things that have been said, the misogyny that's been demonstrated by Donald Trump have put us on edge, have put us in this place where I'm worried that we're taking women's rights back 50 years. You know, equality and equal pay and being treated like a person and having equal say at the table. These are things that really matter. Childcare, etc. I mean, all the things, pro-life, all the things that he's talking about have me deeply concerned as a female. So yes, I'm worried, and yes, I'm concerned, and I wish I could be at that march. I'm speaking tomorrow. I would be at that march and today, so I can't do it. I wish I could be. I think we need to demonstrate against this. This is not good for women in North America and, frankly, in anywhere in the world. All
right, Arlene Dickinson, speaking out on a lot of issues. Kevin O'Leary and Donald Trump. I appreciate your time, as always, Arlene Dickinson. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Evan.